Good morning. Welcome to Cabin Coffee's The Roast. I am your host, Joe. My wife Kelly is out of town today, so you get to deal with me. I'm here today with Kris and Kris from the American Legion Auxiliary. And good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming today. So, I've heard about the American Legion Auxiliary since I was a kid. I believe my grandfather was a part of it in central Wisconsin. But I don't know if everybody understands what you guys do and the impact you make in the community. So you guys recently approached us for a donation for a Women's Vets affair that you had. So I thought this would be a great time for us to bring you in, highlight what you guys are doing, and at least inform people and educate people as to what the American Legion Auxiliary is all about. So.
The American Legion Auxiliary and the American Legion are here to support military families and veterans on active duty and those who served within the community, state, nation. I mean, it's a national program. But here in Eau Claire, our auxiliary in the last 11 years that I have been a part of it has really kind of focused not just on veterans, but female veterans. Huh. So 13 years ago, they started doing what was called a stand down. And back in the 70s, the stand down was you kind of gave some clothing, some food to veterans. And that's kind of what they used to do until in 2017 we had a large stand down for all veterans. And because we had done them twice a year, they kind of said, well, we're not going to do it again because that was in September. And we had a couple ladies say, hey, can we at least do a luncheon? So that's what we've been doing since 2017, is that we, in December, hold we call it a Christmas boutique. And we've come up with gifts, asking for donations like what you gave, and those are either a door prize or if there's enough of them, they're given out to all the veterans. And so they come in, we give them a lunch, the gifts, and just general things, and then we have a lot of other things that there is a free will. They can take what they want. There's been donations from other places, but we're here to help veterans, families, and some of the pillars of the American Legion is also helping children and youth. So those are some of the things that our unit here in Eau Claire kind of focuses on. Is we've done blankets and that for Sleep in Heavenly Peace. We've had some of the veterans go and help them build the beds for them. We've done, if there's a veteran in need, they have contacted us and we've helped them with gas coupons, or we had somebody whose furnace was going out and needed repairs and she didn't have the money. Mm-hmm. We helped with that. We've done a few night stays in order to get somebody into a treatment program. It all kind of depends on the donations that come in, but we're here to help the community for many different things. It's giving back to the community and to veterans. And the Legion does the same thing, but the auxiliary is more for the spouses of the veterans or your grandmothers or that thing. So it's more for the family members on that, where the Legion is just the veterans. But you can be a dual member. I am a dual member. I'm a veteran, and I'm also an auxiliary member. And then we have Sons of the American Legion, where the boys that haven't served are able to join. So, I mean, it's a whole family, and that's really the concept we're trying to blend at the moment, is that we're a family and we all work together. So we work very closely with the Legion on doing different things in the community. They help us with our Poppy Drive. That's one of our biggest fundraisers, and all that money goes back to veterans. That money can only be spent for needs of veterans. We do a lot with the Klein Hall and the Veterans Home in Chippewa Falls. There again, it's helping back. They have at the Veterans Home, they do happy hours, and we support a lot of those. So it's finding different niches and different ways to be able to give back within your community. We've helped with different state things. We've sent care packages to guys that were locally here. We ended up getting at least one name, and we sent, well, last January we sent like 11 care packages between Africa and Texas, where we knew there was local veterans. So I mean, it's many different ways. And there are, again, like we said, us communicating with each other. We bought all the supplies to put in it, but the post help us mail all those boxes.
Gotcha.
So I mean, it's just a community type effort, but it's things behind the scenes that you never think of and you never know. But it was because of people that she knew or people I knew from when I was serving. Look at posts on Facebook. Oh, instant message. Hey, would you like some care packages? Would you like? So I mean, the ladies that are in it had been very active in the community and doing the things like that throughout. And that's part of the reason that I love joining, is to be able to give back. They were active. It was something. My kids were grown. I didn't have grandkids, I think, at the moment, or my youngest one was a baby. That how can I give back? Because for me, being a veteran, that's also, I mean, that's just my nature and what I do. So thinking of different ways to be able to give back.
I think once you're in the service, you're never out of the service. You know, the idea of is, I volunteered. I volunteered for the military, and once I did my 4 years or whatever years you stayed, then your service is done. But some people are wired a little bit different, and have to continue on that service way and finding different avenues in order to serve still, and just not at the capacity of the military that they once were. But the service part is still super important. So. If I was a veteran and I was in need, how would I go about getting in touch with you? Or how do you find the people that are in need?
There's a couple of different ways. Like they can contact the Legion. They're not necessarily open a whole lot, but our adjutant is down there, and there's an answering machine. You can leave a message, and he'll get back to you. If it's for the auxiliary, he lets either Kris or I know that there's an issue and gives us the number. And just because we're some of the ones that are more active, Kris is the president at the moment. Otherwise, we do have a Facebook page. We've had people reach out to us through that. But back a few years back, we had, for the state, there's a female women veterans coordinator for the state, and sometimes with those that were local, and she was contacted, we worked through that, or they worked through her, and they had a little different stipulations than what we had. Like the gal that I said that we helped with the furnace. It was because of another veteran that was within the organization, and she knew about it. And so she reached out to all of us and said, hey, can we help with this? And, of course, we all said yes, and it just continued to do that. It's finding those, but a lot of them, they either reached out because they knew who the female veteran coordinator was, or another veteran reached out to us and said, hey, there's an issue, or even a family member. And so they've just kind of contacted us. The information for the phone number is on our Facebook page, which is Eau Claire American Legion Family, and that kind of encompasses both of it. And both Kris and I manage that. We used to have two, and we kind of kept getting hacked, but you had to keep going in. So we just included the whole thing. So we have the Facebook. We don't have a website, but even with national, if they call, or not national, department, each state has it's kind of like the military. You have your chain, you have your local, you have your county, you have your district, and then department is each state. So even if they contacted the state and said, hey, they could look it up. If you Google us, the phone number, and that's going to come up. I mean, there's many different ways, but some of the best is to reach out and just call the local number, leave a message, and they'll get back to us between the bar manager and the adjutant who's down there and takes care of that kind of stuff for us on a daily basis.
So if I had a family member or I knew a veteran that was struggling and I didn't know who to turn to, and every door that I've looked at is closed because, I feel that there's an injustice with veterans and how they're treated right now in today's society. They served and have done so many things for us, for our way of life and for our freedoms. And I just think that sometimes they're forgotten once their service is done. So if I have a family member that is either struggling and I don't know where to turn, would this be a good organization for me to start at? Would you be able to at least guide me into a direction or help me out like where you could, or at least point me into the steps I needed to go to?
Yeah, I mean, I know with ours, and maybe with ours, I'm a little more partial to because I do work for the Department of Veteran Affairs, so I do know the different types of
Right.
benefits and who qualifies for the different
Hmm.
ones, and they do call and try to reach out to them and explain. Otherwise, you can start with the county veteran service officer too, because they know more of the state stuff, where I know more of the federal type
Gotcha.
benefits. Because everybody kind of qualifies in some of the different ones, but the American Legion helps. One of the other pillars that it falls into is a legislative.
Oh.
They're number one in getting a lot of the laws changed. In the 11 years that I've been with them and watching because of my job, and you watch the different changes, they're right on it when the laws change. And I would say not always is like the VA and trying to get benefits from the VA. Is it um, veteran friendly or for the benefit of the veteran? It's more for whatever. They're right there.
Hmm.
They're the reasons that the Legion is the reason that we have the GI Bill, because they fought for it after World War II.
Oh, wow.
They're one of the top ones that's right up there, and they're fighting for the veterans' benefits. They have been instrumental. So that we have a legislative, um, the pillar that the Legion kind of fights for them, but when they go out to out to DC on an annual basis,
Hmm.
everyone's department, which is the state level, and they go and talk to our senators, our congressmen, and tell them the issues. And they do sit before them and bring up the issues.
Hmm.
So I mean, they're always looking, and so you have your department president and commander.
Hmm.
If you have an issue or you see an issue, you can always bring it up to them, because it's bringing light to the different things that are going on with the veterans' lives. The PACT Act that they signed in August 2022, it helped the Gulf War veterans.
Hmm.
But some of that, it doesn't get changed unless you bring it to
Right.
light. It's like any other problem, the suicide problem, until you start looking at what the numbers were,
Hmm.
it didn't really account to anybody. It's bringing up the problem. And one of the things that I tell a lot of veterans is, if you don't file a claim and tell them what's wrong with you from the service that you did, how do we know what we did to you mentally, physically, and all of that? It's the service, but it's not just for the veteran. It's not just that you served.
Hmm.
Your family suffers just as much, and it's taking care of the caregiver. It's taking care of the different things. So it's just getting to know, but report it. I mean, that's the main thing. But so many veterans you close yourself off to speaking about it because it's a phobia.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things. But yeah, reach out. We can always report the issues up through. It might not get changed now, but to me, it's always putting that little plug in to say there's an issue. There's an issue.
And I don't think that many people know that the background work that's being done for the benefits. I mean,
No.
I told you I've heard of the American Legion, but I knew none of this stuff, and I think it's fascinating, for us to bring to the forefront of this is what you guys are doing. Like, this is super important. So, let me bring this up to you. How are we with numbers right now? Volunteers. I mean, are you guys knocking it out of the park, or are you guys looking for people to come help and join your organization?
We would love more members.
Okay.
With the not a lot of people knowing that what we do and why we do it, our numbers are down our members are getting older, not able to do a lot of the things that they used to be able to do. I'm a mom. I work full time. My son is active in a few things, but I got involved almost 10 years ago, thanks to one of our members that passed in September. I was wrapping gifts with her one day out at the mall a few years ago, about 10 years ago, and I'm like, well, how'd you get involved? She goes, well, I'm a veteran. I'm like, you are? She goes, yeah. And my son was a veteran and military, and he was killed over in Iraq in 2005. And so she's like, come to the meeting next month. I'm like, okay. So I was able to join under my stepfather. And if my brother is a member, I would have been able to be a member of the auxiliary. I don't know if he is, since he lives in Virginia. But to be a member isn't all that difficult. You have to have a person that is a veteran, that is a member of the American Legion, or a veteran that has passed, and you can join under your deceased parent or grandparent or sibling. I can't remember.
Sibling too. I'd have to. I'm sorry.
Because they've changed.
They changed a few parameters.
Yes, but and we try to make the meetings lively. We try to not have them run so long, but we are having more members will give us the opportunity to not have burnout, and also to have more opportunities to do other projects. Because we've been giving to schools for school supplies. This year we have done Lakeshore in Eau Claire. And when I was able to get them down to them, she was extremely thankful because they had just ran out of everything that they had. And we have another box full to take to them. But in this Sleep in Heavenly Peace, we've donated to Sophus for Service. But it's just getting out there to let people know we're there, and we're there for the veterans, and we're there for the community. Because the only way we can make anything better is by helping.
I agree. I think it's great. And you're not the only organization that's struggling with numbers, that I'm aware of. And, it seems like it's not an older generation thing anymore, because the older generation, they're getting older, and it's hard to keep on carrying the torch. So it's time to bring in some new, younger, more invigorated blood into these organizations. But you're not the first one that I've heard that's been struggling with this. And not only that, but it also gives, everybody brings their own gifts to the organizations, their own knowledge, etc. So it really can help expand and explore different avenues that haven't been explored yet. So like I said,
very true.
Numbers are an issue. It seems like a lot. So folks, we need people to get out there and volunteer and contact and see if we are able to join the American Legion Auxiliary.
They did change the parameters a few years back. Is you used to have to be, the veteran had to serve during a wartime period. That is no longer the case. Anybody who served since World War II and has a honorable discharge is able to join the Legion. And then their family members, because for the auxiliary, it's not just females, it can be male. Like my husband could join because of me. And daughters and granddaughters, but it can only be, twice removed. So my granddaughter can be a part, and my daughter, but my great-granddaughter is not able to. They grandfathered some of those in when they made the changes because they realized the verbiage. And it's Congress that sets those guidelines as to who can be changed. So that's something that had to be changed. But even on the Legion side, the numbers are down. And they're dying off faster than we can get new members. But yeah, it's just reaching out to both of those. But yeah, we reach out. We're trying to get more involved and do more things. And with more people, you can do more. But even if you want to volunteer to be able to help veterans, you don't have to be a member to help us with our projects. You can reach out to us and we'll let you know when we're doing different activities, and you're more than welcome to come in and help us.
And is the best way to do that to go on your web or on your Facebook page, or like where? If I want to help, what's my step? What do I do next?
If you want to reach us directly, Kris and I, would be more the Facebook page because we're the one that monitors it. So if
Gotcha.
you send an instant message or you comment on it, we're the ones that will reply back to you.
Correct.
And we communicate with each other because we both work full time. Hey, can you get that one because I'm busy with this right now? And
Right.
we usually try to respond
Pretty
within
quickly.
within a short period of time to get those things done. But yeah, we're always looking for members. We have bingo every other Friday.
Oh, nice.
And her and I run the books and all of that, but it's a joint effort. Our Legion members are the ones that are helping on the floor. That there's those opportunities to be able to help. There's many other things that we're trying to keep going, and we've started in the last couple of years to be able to help with. And they have had, when they were making camel quilts for veterans, they had people who did not belong, but they came in and helped them sew the quilts for the veterans.
That's great. The last thing is, what is just a brief story, because we're going to start wrapping this up here, the most satisfying experience that you guys have had so far in being involved?
Mine would be the boutiques and then just helping the community.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We just had our annual boutique for the female veterans. I'm the one that gets the responses back from them. And if they do have a need that is more than maybe they can cover or just a little bit of something extra, they write it down. But their comments, it was for the camaraderie. These ladies have been coming together for many years now, and it's a camaraderie. And to be able to see it. A recent veteran who just got out within like 2 years, first time there, I said, did this help? Because she was active duty, so none of her military family is here. And she says, yes, this was very rewarding. And she was there with her mom. But some of the best ones for me is we used to have 3 World War II veterans that came. We're down to 1. She is 101 and a half.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, we hope to see you next year. I hope not.
She said that last year. And
here she is again, and her little comment on her thing. But it's a camaraderie that they just want to come together to have that military family and to watch that.
Absolutely.
And it's not necessarily about what little bit of gifts that we give them, but we recognize them as a female veteran, or you recognize a veteran for their service and just say thank you. And you see the humbling effect that it does for another veteran.
Very cool.
Right.
Well, Kris and Kris, I want to thank you guys for coming in today. Again, I was excited to have you here just because for me, I told you I've heard about the American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary, and for us that didn't serve, we don't know anything about it. But you guys are definitely behind the scenes doing things that I think needs to be brought to the forefront of what's going on. And if we can do that to help boost your numbers and support you guys in any way, shape, or form, that's definitely what we're trying to do out here. So they are short on volunteers. So guys, if you have the ability, and gals, if you have the ability and looking for something to donate your time to, this would be a great organization, and I want to thank you both for coming in today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
inviting us.